The lie you've repeated so many times it became reality and is quietly destroying you from within. The emotional wound that became your identity. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a mask you've worn for so long that you forgot your real face. That mask, made of old pain, rejection, or survival, may have been necessary once, but it hardened. It became a second skin, and now, every time your soul tries to breathe, it suffocates under layers of false strength and silent exhaustion. Maybe you've told yourself this is just who you are. Perhaps you've said it so many times it began to feel true. I'm not worthy. I'll always be alone. It never works for me. These phrases didn't begin in your soul. They were seeded by pain and repeated until they sank into your biology. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton, our beliefs shape the way genes express themselves. That means every thought you rehearse becomes a chemical command to your body, molding not only your emotions but your physical state. This false identity, built around wounds, becomes neurologically reinforced. As Joe Dispenza explains, neurons that fire together wire together. So when you repeat emotional stories of lack, fear, or failure, your brain literally strengthens those pathways. You're not imagining your struggle. Your neural and emotional architecture is programmed to recreate it. But that also means it can be rewired. What if your suffering isn't because you're broken, but because you're too loyal to a version of yourself that was built on survival, not truth? Your biology doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. It responds to what you rehearse emotionally. The more often you tell a lie to feel safe, the more it becomes a cage. And slowly, you begin to forget the soul you were before the story began. So I ask you gently, what pain did you internalize so deeply that it started speaking for you? Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you believed the lie. When the story starts to feel heavy, ask, whose voice is this really? That question alone can become the key to unlocking the truth you buried beneath the wound. The forgotten science of energy, how your vibration traps you in the past. There's something your mind may not want to accept, but your body already knows. You're vibrating the past. Even when you pray for change, visualize new outcomes, or speak affirmations, your energetic frequency may still echo old pain. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. Your conscious mind speaks one language, but your subconscious vibration speaks another. And the universe listens to both. Greg Braden teaches that true manifestation happens not from thought alone, but from the coherence between your heart and brain. When you imagine a new life but emotionally dwell in fear or unworthiness, your field becomes incoherent, split. That dissonance creates static in your signal to the quantum field. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are emotionally attuned to. This isn't spiritual punishment. It's vibrational law. You cannot align with abundance if your body is still coded in scarcity. You cannot embody love while vibrating abandonment. The past lives in the body, in the form of unprocessed emotion. And unless that frequency is felt, understood, and transmuted, it becomes the loop you live in. And you call it reality. So you may ask, why does this keep happening to me? The deeper truth may be that it's happening through you, through your unhealed energetic residue. No amount of positive thinking will override a nervous system that still believes it's in danger. That's why healing must be vibrational. Not just mental, not just spiritual, but biological and energetic. What if the real work isn't manifesting a new life, but discharging the frequency of your old one? When you stop pretending to be okay and allow your energy to express the truth, something sacred shifts. Not because you forced change, but because you stopped. Vibrating resistance. The quantum responds not to effort, but to authentic resonance. The false self. How survival personas block your spiritual frequency. Maybe no one ever told you this, so I'll say it with care. The person you became to survive is not the person you came here to be. That self, the high achiever, the caretaker, the invisible one, the one who always says, "I'm fine," was born from pain. And that pain sculpted a persona that kept you safe. But now, that safety is suffocating your soul. Dr. Gabor Mate speaks of the adapted self, the one we create to stay loved in unsafe environments. It's functional, even admirable, but it's also disconnected from the authentic self, which holds your true desires, intuition, and gifts. Over time, the adapted self becomes your emotional prison. And the worst part, you may not even know you're inside it, because it's praised, rewarded. People love your strength, your empathy, your reliability. They don't see the emotional cost beneath the surface, but your body does. It starts to whisper, fatigue, anxiety, sadness for no reason. These are not weaknesses, they are spiritual alerts. Warnings that your frequency is no longer aligned with your soul's blueprint. You see, frequency isn't just emotion, it's expression. Every time you silence your truth to protect an identity, your frequency dims. And the universe doesn't respond to the version of you that pretends. It responds to the version of you that feels. If you're wondering why things feel stuck, the question might be, who am I being loyal to? My truth or my survival mask? Let me offer this image. Imagine carrying an old coat you no longer need. It once kept you warm, but now it's heavy, frayed, and suffocating. What if healing is simply about gently taking it off? Not rejecting it, not shaming it, but honoring it and releasing it. Because your soul has always been waiting underneath the layers you wore to survive. The biology of belief. How your cells obey emotional commands. Your cells are listening, not just to your words, but to your beliefs. Every thought you think, especially when repeated with emotion, becomes a biochemical signal. Dr. Bruce Lipton demonstrated that our environment, which includes our emotional and mental state, directly influences gene expression. This means your biology isn't fixed. It's fluid, adaptive, and deeply responsive to what you believe about yourself. Think of your beliefs as instructions delivered to your cells. If you consistently tell yourself that you're unlovable, unworthy, or cursed, your body begins to operate under that premise. It adjusts your hormones, your immune responses, even your cellular repair mechanisms. It doesn't question your belief, it executes it. Your body is not the enemy. It's simply obeying your inner commands. This is why healing begins not with fixing the body, but with listening to the story it's echoing. The fatigue, the illness, the disconnection, they aren't random. They are intelligent signals. If you've carried grief for decades, don't be surprised if your heart speaks through pressure or arrhythmia. If you've swallowed your truth, your throat might ache with unspoken pain. Your symptoms are messages, not malfunctions. Imagine a child being told every day, "You're not enough." Over time, that child will shrink, dim, and ache. Your cells respond the same way. But what if you began to speak to them with reverence? "I'm safe now. It's okay to soften. You don't have to carry this anymore." These aren't just affirmations. They are epigenetic medicine, a new environment for healing. So pause and ask, what beliefs have my cells been forced to obey? And what new truth am I willing to whisper to them today? You don't have to believe it perfectly. You just have to begin the conversation. Because every gentle thought, every moment of grace, becomes a biological permission slip to return to wholeness. When the universe echoes your inner conflict, have you ever felt like life keeps repeating the same painful lesson, no matter how much you try to change? Maybe it's a pattern in relationships, finances, or health. It's not punishment. It's resonance. The universe is a mirror, and what it reflects back to you is the frequency you're anchored in emotionally. If you carry the belief, "I am alone," the world reflects solitude, not to wound you, but to reveal you. This is not to blame you. It is to empower you. As Neville Goddard taught, the outer world is nothing more than the outpicturing of your inner assumptions. Change the assumption, and the mirror must change. But it's not about repeating words. It's about shifting identity. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you embody. If your soul longs for love but your body braces for abandonment, there's an energetic split, and the universe will reflect the dominant frequency, usually the one wired deepest in your nervous system. This is why awareness alone isn't enough. You must feel safe in your body to receive what your mind desires. Otherwise, desire becomes suffering. You are not being ignored by the universe. You're being shown where you are still at war with yourself. And the mirror will keep reflecting until you stop fighting and start integrating. When you reconcile with the abandoned parts of you, your vibration shifts. Not because you forced it, but because you made peace with your reflection. So next time a pattern repeats, don't just ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What part of me is still vibrating this story?" And instead of trying to change the mirror, shift the presence that stands before it. The outer world is only ever asking you to become whole within. The path of compassionate reprogramming. Reprogramming your mind doesn't mean overriding your emotions. It means approaching them with such tenderness that they willingly let go. Think of your subconscious as a frightened child, shaped by past wounds, hidden beliefs, and ancestral echoes. You don't rewire it by yelling over it. You rewire it by listening, holding, and gently showing it a new way. Joe Dispenza reminds us that we can't create a new future while emotionally anchored in the past. So the key is not just to think differently, but to feel differently. But how do we feel something new when our body is addicted to old pain? Start small. Begin with moments of inner safety, a breath, a quiet affirmation, a memory of peace. These micro moments are neuroplasticity in motion. Neuroplasticity means your brain can change, but it needs repetition and emotion. Not empty affirmations, but ones you feel. Not mantras of escape, but words that touch the soul of the wound. I am not alone. I am safe to rest. It's okay to receive. These are emotional nutrients your nervous system has long been starved of. And yes, the mind will resist. The old story will whisper, "This is useless. You've tried before. Nothing works." That's not truth. It's just familiarity. The mind prefers the known pain over unknown healing. But each time you respond to resistance with compassion, you weaken the old circuitry. You send a new signal. It's safe to transform. So begin not with trying to fix yourself, but with sitting beside yourself. Imagine whispering to your inner child, "I'm here now. You don't have to carry this alone." That's not spiritual bypass. That's sacred neuroscience. And every time you offer yourself compassion, you rewire your reality. A simple daily practice to change your frequency. Close your eyes. Place one hand over your heart. Breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Do this 3 times. Now, with your awareness in your chest, whisper, I am safe now. I am whole now. I am enough now. This is a heart-brain coherence practice supported by Greg Braden and the HeartMath Institute, and it shifts your entire electromagnetic field. This isn't just relaxation, it's recalibration. When your heart rhythm becomes coherent, your brain follows. Your nervous system calms. Your energy stabilizes. And the quantum field responds. You don't have to visualize the future in perfect detail. Just align your heart and brain long enough to feel peace. That peace is the portal. You can enhance this practice by pairing it with a symbolic gesture. Light a candle, hold a crystal, touch your chest. These rituals create anchors for the subconscious, reminding it that something sacred is happening. Over time, your body begins to associate these gestures with emotional safety. And safety is the soil where new beliefs grow. Consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to meditate for hours. A few minutes of deep coherence, practiced daily, will do more than hours of ungrounded affirmations. Your body will learn, your frequency will lift, and your outer world will quietly begin to mirror the change. So ask yourself, what would shift in my life if I spent 5 minutes each day in heart coherence? Healing doesn't happen through force. It happens through frequency, one loving breath at a time. Remembering the self before the wound, before the lie, before the trauma, before the adaptation. Who were you? Can you remember? Not with your mind, but with your soul. That version of you still exists. It was never erased, only buried. And healing isn't becoming someone new. It's returning. Tom Campbell teaches that consciousness is the source of everything, and at your core, you are pure consciousness. The self that was wounded is not your origin. The self that adapted is not your essence. Beneath the stories, roles, fears, and survival lies something untouched, your original frequency. What if the purpose of your pain wasn't to destroy you, but to awaken you to the parts of you that needed love the most? What if every heartbreak, every illness, every loss was a teacher, guiding you back to your soul? Not to punish, but to purify, to burn away the false and reveal the true, like gold in fire. So take a moment, feel into the silence beneath your thoughts, whisper inwardly, show me who I was before the world taught me to forget. That question opens a door, and sometimes all your soul needs is the invitation to return. You don't have to fix what was broken. You only need to remember what was always whole. And now, I leave you with this. What if the pain you carry is not a curse, but the map back to your sacred self? Let that question walk with you. Let it soften your defenses, because you're not broken, you're remembering, and the universe is listening.